All right, good day, Blab. This is a very special night edition because this is the only time I have to record. It's your girl, Dominique Rebel, also known as Hotep Sophia. And of course, this is the show Good Day Blab, where we take the um, headlines directly from the Blab timeline and we see what's really happening amongst the people. Of course, if you want to check out my blab, go to hotepsophia.com. I have my links there, unless I get banned by Linktree like L did, which let's hope that that doesn't happen. So we try to keep this stream as clean as possible and use as few trigger words as possible. It is a stream where you do have to look at the screen from time to time because I will allow something to be shown that I will not comment on. And I will say, I am not commenting on this because the Blab timeline is a little bit intense sometimes. And that's fine because these are intense times. However, I'm not going to get set up saying something that will get me attacked by certain pointy hatted individuals. Um, so anyway, let's see what's happening. I don't know, of course. I do have a bake share, personal baking sort of business. I like to just bake for people and cook for people. So feel free to check that out. And then this is one of my groups. I need to do one for the other group that I have, but this is a shop with Gabbers group. So if the requirements are right here. We're really setting up this parallel economy, which is why I have on this full face of makeup, because right after I finish shooting this, I'm going to shoot another episode about the parallel economy and the importance of that. So I'll try to remember to go back and put the link in my timeline. So, first thing, before I even get to this part, there has been an influx of users to Blab, which will henceforth be known as D21s. And unlike the O21s or the J21s, these people have been causing a great deal of problems already on Blab already. Like, it hasn't even been a week, and these, I don't personally have a problem with any of the Gripper accounts or the Frog accounts. I don't personally have a problem with them. But for whatever reason, they've gotten on Blab and they're very, very upset that they can't get back to Twitter. And instead of being happy that they have somewhere to go, which is not nowhere, including Nick Fuentes himself, and somehow Baked Alaska, like, I don't even understand what's going on with these people. Like, you have nowhere else to go, allegedly. So how closely are you working with the government that you still do have somewhere to go? So anyway, that's neither here nor there at this point. But the problem is these accounts have come in and they're really ungrateful for what's going on, and they really have just been stirring up trouble. So you will see. Now, that being said, here's the issue. I don't know what's going on with Nick Fuentes. I don't watch the guy. I know the Zoomers love him. I don't particularly care at all whatsoever. However, he has just been stirring the pot and saying stuff that's extremely controversial or wrong. Like the other day he was attacking Torba, which is unnecessary, and then he was attacking women. He said women shouldn't be on Gab and it would be the number one platform overnight. Like, this type of stuff is kind of weird, and I don't know if we're going to get to it in the show because it's kind of far down my timeline, but Digging Deeper made a comment about this. At a time when birth rates are dropping and there's all these interpersonal relationships, problems between men and women, you don't need somebody saying stuff like that, which is absolutely accurate. It's not a good time to be talking about like boys only clubs. Like, you really just want to get out of that mindset. So then, just to bring everybody up to speed, We have some excellent researchers on Blab. They went and pulled his whole social media, and they have basically proven that he engages in particular activities with men. I mean, some of the stuff that I've seen, so I'm only saying it because I don't know what's going to come up. I can't remember how far back down the timeline it is. I don't know. And if it comes up, I don't want people to be like, oh my gosh, what is this about? And I don't want to have to explain it again. So that is to say, there is now some pretty significant photo evidence, which of course Nick is not going to respond to it, about these type of activities. And so it's a whole big thing. Another guy who came to Blab, this Beardson, I don't know who this guy is either, but he's sort of like a pedophile. So like, hitting on 16-year-olds and 14-year-olds. So I don't know exactly all of the intimate details about what's going on, but I can tell you this. Don't come to Blab with your nonsense. Just don't. Like, feel around, build you a little community, say, stuff and contribute. But this whole coming to Blab and then, like, because you won't be banned, unless you post porn, of course, you will be banned for porn. But if you won't be banned for words, does not mean that you should come and say every word that you can think of. That's a bad idea, because you will get harassed to the ends of the earth. Don't come to Blab talking about white people this, white people that, whatsoever. Just leave that alone. I understand white people are very, very sensitive right now, and I get it, because they're being attacked in a way. I forgot to post it. Wait a minute. They're being attacked I'm going to try to remember to post it, or I'm going to pull it up. They're being attacked in ways I've never, ever, ever seen before, and it's completely outrageous. Completely. And it's unnecessary. And it's ridiculous. So I totally get it. But all I'm saying is, if you come to Blab, you're new to Blab, you're trying to figure out what's going on, you just poke around, read people's conversations, don't pick fights with accounts, even with small numbers, because there are accounts that have small numbers, which are very, very, very influential, and you will poke a bear you do not want to. I am just telling you, this is not like Twitter, because these people are relentless. They will look up all your personal information, not to dox you, but to just show that you're literally not who you say you are. Whatever you say, they will find the truth. It's a very truth-censored website. So if you come up there and you start talking a bunch of nonsense, you will delete your account. And they have scalps to show that they have made people delete their accounts because of all the stuff that they research and pull on them. Because you're not anonymous on the internet. You're just not anonymous. You would have to be extremely careful to be anonymous, and you're not. So therefore, don't do it. Just come to Gab, be nice, have a fun time, get to meet people, learn some stuff, and don't pick fights. You will be burned up, and it will be hilarious, and I will laugh, just for the record. So, of course, if you want to look at my Blab timeline, Dominique Rebel, I'm also Hotep Sophia, it says both, easy to find, and of course the link is in my link tree. So hotepsophia.com. So this is I just went through, try to add some fresh stuff. I forgot to post this other thing that I saw at the store earlier, so before the show is over, I'll post it so you can see. But it says TV chef Gordon Ramsay moves restaurant headquarters from California to Texas. Who in their right mind is still in California? Get out. You gonna be in an episode of Get Out really soon if you don't get out, because the government is not going to save you. The police is not going to save you. Nobody's going to save you. So all of this, like, I'm just saying, unless you're in a fortified location, different, okay? But if you're not fortified, you need to go somewhere where you can get fortified. And I have no more to say about it. You people are nonsense. So here's, of course, one of the things, which is why I brought it up. Look, I can't comment. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about this Bitcoin thing, because people there are people even that I still watch on YouTube, you know, and I or BitChute or whatever, and they are really into Bitcoin. And there has been some really great research done by Aim for Truth on the actual inventor of Bitcoin, which is Venables, this guy named Venables. And so this whole Satoshi thing is just not true. All of this stuff is not true. It's a DARPA project. So all I'm saying is, if you have your money in Bitcoin and you think that it's somehow going to do anything except get you into big trouble and the government won't just confiscate it at some point, because that's basically how these things work, and they're using it to track you. It's not private, it's not secure, the blockchain is not what it says it is. The research is all there if you will open your mind and not just go by what you've always heard. The information is there. So all I'm saying is not what is it called? Financial advice. I'm not a financial planner. All I'm saying is I would be swapping Bitcoin for silver while you can. Because silver, historically, this post is kind of far back, so I'll try to remember to repost it. But historically, silver to gold ratio has been 16 ounces of gold to 1 ounce of silver. Historically, it has always been 16 ounces of gold to 1 ounce of silver. Always, all the way up until this stuff started happening in the 1800s. 16 ounces of gold to 1 ounce of silver. That is the historic ratio. Why is that? There is way more gold on this planet than there is silver. And silver is an industrial metal. So even before it was an industrial metal, it was 16 to 1. Now it's an industrial metal. It should probably be 32 to 1. Just double, just because people use it industrially. And I think right now it's 20 some dollars an ounce. So I'm just saying, again, not financial advice, because I'm a crayon eating ape. I don't know anything. All I'm saying is I like the shiny, and the shiny you can hold in your hand. I don't care what they say about Bitcoin. Even if it is in your own possession, that does not mean anything. Absolutely nothing. They could ban the transactions. They could send it to negative $40. They could trace you by your transactions. Guess what's not traceable? Silver. They can't trace silver. They don't know where it came from. They don't know where it's going. And I don't care what anybody says. You try and trace a dollar. I mean, even a paper dollar can't be traced. So how are you going to trace an ounce of silver? It's just common sense. So, of course, you want the research on that. Gabriel's Horn has all of it. I think they posted it again today because we were talking about it. This is a very important post because all of these people have collectively put every difference they have aside and joined together to save the world without even thinking twice. This is true. People really do care about the fate of humanity. People are really putting aside their differences in many cases to work with people they would not normally work with to save humanity. There's a lot of camaraderie amongst humans right now. And so, I also have faith in humanity, just because for that reason and for other reasons. And so I think people should be more optimistic and less pessimistic about how other people are acting. And that is a problem I have with Blab, because every time they talk about stuff, it's like, oh, this person or that person, why don't whites do this? Why don't blacks do this? Why don't we do this? Why aren't we this? Why aren't we that? Look, everybody, when it's your time to do something, you'll know it. And it will be painfully obvious, and you will just have to do it. So instead of complaining about why this person's not doing this and why that person's not doing this, just when it's your time to act, be prepared to act. That's all. I didn't look at this video yet. No comment. No comment. They said they hate women. Okay. So if you haven't been on Blab, there is a great artist community, on Blab. This is a great illustrator. They do. I think it's a she. Look, don't give me the line. When you're a whatever, you can't tell who is who. But they do really, really great illustrations, and there's lots of like. So if you're an artist and you're looking for groups to join on Blab, the Illustrators Guild is a good one. Blue Collar Illustration is a good person to follow. This person, Space Kraken, they're a good person to follow. Also, there's another guy. His name is Jeremy Gorman. Good follow. And so there's lots of groups for artists on Blab. Look at this. Look at the pizza though. Budweiser, the rats. The rats are the only ones who will be around her. It. So this whole Joe Rogan thing, right? I'm not even going to go into detail with it, but he did go to Blab live on air, and somebody pointed out that he said he never been to Blab, but the dark screen like I have here is not default. The default is white. So if you have a dark screen and you're saying I went to Blab for the first time, but your screen is already black, you've been to Blab. This is not your first time. You actually went there and you changed it to black because this black theme is not default. So Joe Rogan lied about never being on Blab. So hey Joe, I'm sure you're on here checking out what's going on because this is the only place you can get information. Now this is crazy. I thought this was insane. They want Cuomo to return the $5.1 million in profits. I've never, like, how that's even legal, I don't know. So I wouldn't really suspect this will hold up very long because it doesn't really seem legal to me. You know, I don't know. That's just weird. So, digging deeper, this is who I was talking about earlier. She has been covering the Maxwell trial too, and she's very into this type of documenting this sort of stuff that's going on with the trafficking and whatnot. Okay, so cat turd. Look at this. Now, I don't even want to say anything. But I will say this about moronic. How can they diagnose you with being a moron if there's no test for it? I just want to know because how do you know what you have if there's no test for it? So that's just something to keep in mind. This is a good little quick video. I have no comment. I just have no comment. But I just have no comment. No further comment. But Maddie said, can we please start making Holocaust-related movies but cast black actors? And this was someone's suggestion. Outrageous. Something good happened to me earlier. We'll get to that. Okay, so here's another thing. And I don't know what's taking my screen so long to catch up because I've definitely moved on. But here's another thing. So if you haven't seen, the Salvation Army is basically like begging for money. Like they are really hard pressed right now because they put out this post or something talking about how whites are evil or something like that. Whatever. This is CRT nonsense. And one day I am going to talk about CRT specifically. I'm going to pull up the article that the theory comes from and dissect that a little bit because I have it. And it's not at all what people say it is. Like, it's not at all. Anyway, so, the thing about this is the research has been done. So the Salvation Army and the YMCA, the way that they say they were created is not the truth. It's simply not true. And Aim for Truth has done a great job researching this information and making it easy to understand with the videos about what it's really about. And I'm just going to do like a 2-minute bottom line here. As close to 2 minutes as I can. So the bottom line is about the Salvation Army is that it's a quasi-Christian organization which does no evangelism and essentially is a pawnbroker. The guy who started it was a pawnbroker. So basically, they have conned you into giving them your items for free, selling them to other people, and keeping the money, making a profit. Um, that's the long and the short of it. And they use that money to fund trafficking. And they have historically. Same thing with the YMCA. They use the money, the dues that they collect from the YMCA. First of all, they groom people. They were, especially, I don't know about now. It's a little bit iffy if it's still exactly the same. But historically, the YMCA was grooming grounds. They had the pools, and apparently you had to swim naked, which I never actually even heard of. That's gross. So gross. So they would have these little kids, and they would be swimming naked, and all of the offices were around the pool for the people who ran it. So like they could basically pick out the ones that they want, and then they would groom them and they would traffic them. So, and it had housing. I didn't know that. So like where I'm from, we didn't have a YMCA. We had a YMCA in our community for exactly 4 years, and it was too expensive, so black people didn't go, and we didn't get no subsidized nothing, and it didn't have a pool or anything like that. So I think there are some like more historical ones that have had like all of these problems or whatever, but as far as like what I know, like what my experience with the YMCA, because I went to the YMCA, it wasn't like that. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm wondering how much of this stuff still goes on, but I think you probably still have pockets, because mine, like I said, it was a new facility, and then I guess they realized what they was doing wasn't working, so they closed it. Just as fast as they opened it, really. It was kind of like weird, because like I said, where I'm from is a predominantly black area, but it's also a high income area, and so I think personally that the way that they can't really traffic in my area the way that they do in other areas, because people have money, and people with money are going to be watching closely what happens with their kids. They're not going, I mean, enough money. Like if you're super rich, then you don't have time. But if you're moderately like middle class, you're going to be watching what's going on with your kids. So it's much harder to get to kids in that area. You got to get to them in a different way. And so I think that's kind of like what happened. Like they just couldn't get to the kids in my area in that way. And so they had to, try something else a little bit different. Because like I said, we had a YMCA. It wasn't, it just wasn't like that. And my screen is still not moving. So hopefully it'll catch up. But in the meantime, I'll keep going. Because of course, if you want to see what I'm talking about, you can go to my timeline and it's right there. Okay. So the next thing, it still hasn't caught up. Okay, the YMCA, this is more about the YMCA and the Salvation Army. So if you look at my post, they linked all of the articles about the YMCA and the Salvation Army to my post. So, and I did retweet it, or repost it, so you'll be able to see it. And this is what this is about. Salvation Army facing toy donation shortage ahead of the holidays. Well, maybe if you didn't say all white people are evil, you wouldn't have that problem. But, okay, so here's another post. I wish my screen would catch up, but whatever, it's not. Michael McKibben, who is the inventor of scalable social media, did a interview discussion with this guy named Dylan about Bitcoin, and they did a whole panel about Bitcoin or whatever. So and then somebody forgot to hit the record button, which is insane. Like, that wouldn't happen. And so the whole discussion just never got posted. So that's interesting. Torba says that he's going to ban usury in the parallel economy. So I do want to talk about this for a minute, because the usury thing is a big issue, and that's really why our economy is where it is. It's not because that we don't have an economy that could be moving, but it's the whole usury issue, and the usury basically is interest. Anything where you have to pay interest is usury, because they're basically getting nothing. They're getting something for nothing. It costs them nothing to give you digits on a screen, but in exchange, they're taking whatever percentage to get back to you. So that creates a debt slave, and that system is impossible to get out of. And so, in my perspective, since that system is impossible to get out of, you just get into it, and you take on as much debt, and then you pay it little by little, until it's never going to be paid off, so don't even worry about it. That's how that kind of thing goes. And then once you know how life insurance and stuff like that works, which is if you designate a beneficiary as a person and not an estate, no creditors can come and take your money. Like, it'll go to the person. I mean, they have to claim it on their taxes. That's another set of things. But at the same time, the people who lent the money out, they just have to write that off as a loss, and they have to do that over and over and over again. And I think that's another thing that's going to happen with this die-off that's coming, because you have people who are in a lot of debt, and basically, what are they going to do? I mean, there's not really a whole lot that they're going to be able to do about getting it back, because if the life insurance policies do even pay out, which technically they shouldn't, but they probably will, they probably have, because if they don't pay out the life insurance, then people will know right away that, they better not get these jabs, and then the whole system collapses right then. So I think they've been paying out on policies just to keep the illusion going that the jab is legitimate, which we know that it's not. So that's going to have to come to an end soon, or because of so many people who are dying, and then who's going to get the inheritance and all that stuff. So we have a lot of issues that are going to be coming up, which is one reason why I think that you see churches sort of behaving the way that they are, like sort of reopening and, that type of thing, because if somehow they make a rule where, okay, if the person doesn't have, say for example, they make a rule, or they find that you have a $100,000 policy, and you don't have any heirs, but you were a member of a church. They may make it so that the church gets that money. So I think that's one reason why you see sort of some churches pushing to reopen, because that may be one of the solutions that they come up with on what to do with this money that they're supposed to be giving out to the person's heir, but maybe all their heirs died too. Or the heirs are young people who are, they're unqualified to receive the proceeds. So I think that you have a number of little issues with that, which I think are going to be coming up pretty soon, just based on how things are going. So anyway, Gabriel Swan, of course, has another post about how the truth was given to certain organization like True News, and then poof, it disappears. They never did anything with it. So here's some cognitive dissonance for you, and I don't know why the screen is just stuck. So of course, like I said, go to my timeline, you'll see it. The cognitive dissonance is the jab is killing people, plus I support Trump, plus Trump bags about the vax, and it's equals cognitive dissonance, which is completely true. This is why you can no longer in good faith support this man, and I think Lieutenant Colonel Scheller was correct when he said there's no way Trump can come back. He can't. You're not just going to put him in and things are going to go back to normal. I don't care what you think, Queen Elizabeth or whoever is speaking for you. Not going to happen. People are not going to accept this. The fact that he's called himself many times the father of the vaccines. Why would you do that? They're killing lots of people. Which I'm not supposed to say. But anyway, why would you call yourself that? That's not good. You know, that's bad. Very, very bad. The VAERS numbers support that there's been a lot of reactions to these things, which are bad. So I don't really know what that's about. And you have to wake up and say that, okay, these things are wrong, and you can't support people who are not doing the right thing. It's the same thing with DeSantis. Why haven't we had a full audit in Florida? There's ample evidence in Broward and probably Duval and definitely Miami-Dade that they were tampering with the votes. There's plenty of evidence for that. He should have called a full audit, a full forensic audit for the state, and he won't. And so that's another huge point of contention. And if there is a candidate that comes forward that does call for a full forensic audit in Florida, Ron is going to lose his job. So he really needs to get on the ball and get it together, because he is really causing himself a lot of undue problems. So, I have a post on my page. For the first time in my life, a police officer was nice to me. I won a $100 Secret Santa gift card from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. I just had to take a picture, and I have my Gad shirt on, and it's dirty because, of course, I was on my way from dropping the kids off at school. I just stopped at Walmart. So, but I do have my Gab shirt on, of course. So, that was a really cool thing. Where I'm from, the police don't do stuff like that. They just don't. I mean, they don't. And I have never, experienced anything like that before. So it was a really, really good experience for me. And, I definitely, like living somewhere. It says, well, once my network connection improves. What is going on with my network? Okay, I don't know. So obviously something's wrong with my internet, and I won't worry about it. So then we have a couple of fun posts. And the next video I do is going to be about Mr. Joe, Just Joe Radio. He posted about wanting to broadcast for a living, and what his schedule is going to be like and stuff like that. And that's why I'm going to shoot this next video and talk a little bit about that, because I think it's important to understand that there are people like myself who have been thinking about this parallel economy thing, and not in the terms of parallel economy, but just trying to develop strategies to deal with all of the stuff that's going on in a way that you can still earn a living or have something to barter. And I think it's really, really crucial to sort of be working on that. So I definitely will have something to say about that, and we'll be addressing it in a future video, which is I'm going to record next. Philip Venables. I thought it was Charlie Venables. So this is more stuff about the jab. But you know what? Okay, so this is going to be the last thing I talk about. And of course, go to my timeline if you want to see it. I don't know why it's not doing it on the screen. It's really annoying. But I guess somebody else must be doing something on the internet in my house. I don't know. It's really annoying. So, but I will say this. Anybody who is still out here pushing Candace Owens needs to stop it. Just stop it. She is a British-controlled puppet. And so all of this rebranding and hair tracks and finally getting good makeup and all of this stuff, this is just a ploy. Her husband, who I think is gay, is part of the peerage. So she's not qualified like everyone else, I guess, to be president, to run for president, to run for office or anything. She's married into the peerage. You cannot be a British peerage member and be an official in the government in the United States. It's against the Constitution. Now they have allowed it with the other imposter that's trying to claw their way into the White House right now. However, that doesn't mean that it's right. And so conservatives need to back off and literally, I swear, she is the conservative Kamala. Everything that Kamala has done and all the jokes that you make about her, they apply to Candace equally. And Tree of Logic has done a number of exposés on this. It's all very well documented. Her and Charlie and whatever. So my thing is this. Y'all need to stop talking about her. Stop. She doesn't speak for black people. She's not black. She's literally an islander, which is not a native black American, a descendant of Reconstruction. She is not. So stop it. Really, seriously, stop it. Do not pull her across the finish line. We're not pulling anybody else across the finish line. I'm not one person. If the person, I'm going 100% or none. I have very high expectations for my leaders, and she does not meet not one of them. Not one. She was doxing children. Really. Like I said, Tree of Logic, Treehouse News. If you look her up on YouTube, she's got all the goods. She's put out all the information. It's very well documented who this woman is. And so if you are still supporting her and you won't go and do the research, you gonna be in trouble because you is gonna get ran over. First of all, the whites shouldn't accept her, but they probably will. Second of all, her police officer buddy threatened somebody on a live stream in a very epic nigga moment. So yeah, she's not qualified. She's not qualified, and y'all really need to stop pushing this woman as if she is. So I'm going to end it on that. And my next video, I'm going to talk about business basics and the parallel economy and what that means and what that looks like. So again, this is your girl, Dominique Rebel, also known as Hotep Sophia. You can go to hotepsophia.com and my link tree will pop up with all of the links, the Blab TV link and my Blab link, and you can go and look through my timeline. Lots of useful information there about what's going on. And again, this is Good Day Blab, where I take the timelines, the timelines. I take the headlines straight from the Blab timeline. And hopefully we'll get these out every day. They might be in the evening. I'm trying to do them in the morning, but that seems to not be working. So we might go for evenings for a while until I can get back to mornings. But I definitely want to bring this information every day because the Blab timeline is light years ahead of the news media. And so if you want to know what's coming, we already know. We are the news, literally. And so this is just a brief wrap up, so you don't have to search through to find the most important information. We bring it to you right here. So that's all for today, folks. You have a good evening. Peace, love, and blessings to you.